With temperatures on the verge of plunging into the single digits, thousands of public housing residents in the city were braving the cold without heat or hot water. The inhumane conditions in some NYCHA buildings have persisted for more than a week, even as Mayor de Blasio urged private renters to alert the city if their landlords weren't providing heat. Carmen Crespo, 67, lives at Harborview Terrace, a public housing development on the west side. She says she's been without power for 2 weeks with no sign of it being turned back on. "It's been so long for me to be without heat," Crespo told the Daily News. "And I'm cold." The mercury could drop to 0 degrees on Friday with a wind chill of 21 below. That's after a winter storm battered the city on Thursday, dumping 9 inches of snow in Central Park. Crespo has been hunkered down with her 2 Chihuahuas, Cheripa and Lucita. She's using 2 space heaters and the stove for warmth. But she doesn't run both heaters at once, or for long periods at a time, she said. "I don't want to leave the heater on all night," Crespo said. "You never know, they can catch fire." At a press conference on Thursday, de Blasio offered an update on the storm. And he took aim at private landlords who left their tenants in the cold. "Anyone who does not have hot water or heat in their building needs to call 311 right away," the mayor said, noting that if landlords don't respond, the city can enter buildings and turn it on themselves and send landlords the bills. It was only after a reporter from the news asked about NYCHA residents that he even addressed the struggles in public housing developments. "The folks who work at NYCHA are trying to hold together something that really should have gotten investment a long time ago," de Blasio said during the press conference at the Office of Emergency Management in Brooklyn. "Notwithstanding that reality, each time we've got to get the heat back on, and we've got to take whatever extraordinary actions will allow us to get the heat back on." Crespo said most of the neighbors she spoke to on the 12th floor didn't have heat. While on the phone with a reporter from the news, she stopped another tenant in the hall and asked if she had heat. The answer was no. NYCHA spokeswoman Jasmine Blake said the heat in Crespo's building was spotty Wednesday due to a problem with a valve that had been fixed. On Thursday, they measured temperatures of 68, 69 and 70 degrees in her building, though they did not specify on what floor of the building those temperatures were measured. NYCHA received just one call to its customer contact center about heat in the building Thursday, Blake said, adding that staff would contact Crespo. Assemblywoman Linda Rosenthal said the city told her late Thursday afternoon they had set up a situation room at Harborview Terrace to deal with the heat outages. Crespo isn't sure when she'll have heat. She said a NYCHA worker told her Tuesday it would be another 2 days, and wouldn't give her a straight answer on what the problem was. "Don't tell me I have to wait," she added. "How long have I been waiting? 2 weeks already." Crespo wasn't alone. The Woodside houses in Queens lost heat and hot water Thursday, affecting 1,357 apartments that are home to 2,953 people. NYCHA said it and all other development-wide heat outages had been restored by the end of the day. Stephanie Adams, 26, lives at Woodside with her mother and said she hasn't had heat since New Year's Eve. "It's bad, and since 2 days from now we haven't had hot water either," she said. "We've bought space heaters, we bought warmers, me and my mom have been sleeping together." While she's called to complain and get a repair ticket, Adams said NYCHA has closed tickets without visiting her apartment. "They closed the tickets as if it was resolved and no one showed to my house. No calls, no notice," she said. Desiree Vales, 50, also had been without heat for 2 days, and said kidney disease meant her body ached even worse in the cold. "It's just getting colder now. The only thing that's giving us a little heat is this fireplace with the heater," she said as she pointed to her electric fireplace. Elias Candelario, 19, said his heat came back at 4 p.m., but it had been out for a week. He wanted NYCHA to move more quickly on repairs all the time, not just during major snowstorms. "I just want things to get fixed," he said. "How would they want to live? In the cold or in the heat?" On its website, the agency listed the Tilden houses and the Pink houses in Brooklyn, and the Sedgwick houses and the Patterson houses in the Bronx as being entirely without heat on Thursday. Those 5 developments are collectively home to 15,164 residents, according to NYCHA figures. Heat and hot water were also out at one building in the Jefferson houses in Manhattan, affecting 108 units, and one building at the Lower East Side Rehab, affecting 22 units. Another 104 residents were without heat and hot water at the Rutland Towers in Brooklyn. By 6 p.m., heat been restored at all of those developments, according to NYCHA. But new heat outages continued to pop up, at individual buildings of the South Bronx area public housing site and one building at the Independence houses in Brooklyn. After the press conference, de Blasio made an unannounced visit to the Woodside houses, according to a spokeswoman's Twitter account, where he checked on boiler repair efforts. Kelly said the utilities had been restored at the Redfern houses in Far Rockaway, where heat had been on and off since Thursday and was shut down entirely Wednesday by frozen pipes. At Redfern right now, heat is operational. We have a 24-hour watch to make sure that the mobile boiler is in operation, so if it should go down again, we are in a position to respond to it directly, Kelly said at the OEM press conference. Kelly said staff was on site at every development with heat and hot water outages and roving teams were checking others. Crespo was still waiting for heat late Thursday. "I already reported it," she said. "I called 311 like 5 times,